The salt-laden breeze whipped through my hair as I stood at the edge of Hampton Shores Beach Club, watching my family's annual summer gathering from a distance. The exclusive club had been our family's summer tradition for 3 decades, a symbol of wealth, status, and everything my parents held dear. I could see them from here, my parents holding court on their regular cabana, my sister Victoria showing off her newest tennis outfit, and various family friends pretending they weren't gossiping about me, the black sheep of the prestigious Anderson family. "Miss Anderson?" A security guard approached, looking uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, but I've been instructed to remind you that you're not permitted on the premises." Of course. Last summer's incident was still fresh in everyone's minds. I had dared to announce at the annual family dinner that I was leaving my father's investment firm to start my own business. The argument that followed had ended with my father's face purple with rage, my mother in tears, and my membership card being dramatically torn in half. "This beach is for successful children," Dad had sneered, throwing the pieces of my membership card into the ocean. "Not dreamers who throw away perfectly good careers for foolish fantasies." I smiled at the guard now. "It's fine, Mark. I was just leaving." He shifted uncomfortably, probably remembering how he used to call me Miss Sarah, and sneak extra towels to my cabana. Amazing how quickly loyalty shifts when money talks. Walking back to my car, I thought about the past year. They all thought I had failed. Probably imagined me struggling in some tiny apartment, regretting my decision to leave the family business. My sister Victoria made sure to send me pictures of every family gathering I was banned from, always with captions like, "Missing you, but not your drama." XOXO. What they didn't know was that leaving Anderson Investment Group had been the best decision of my life. While they were busy shunning me from their precious beach club, I had been building something of my own. Something much bigger than they could imagine. My phone buzzed, a message from my lawyer. "Everything's set for tomorrow's announcement. Are you sure about this?" I typed back a quick, "Proceed as planned," before sliding into my Tesla, another purchase they didn't know about. From the driver's seat, I could see my mother raising her champagne glass in some sort of toast. Probably another celebration of Victoria's achievements, like marrying the son of Dad's golf buddy or being made partner in the family firm. The truth was, while they were celebrating their small victories, I had been orchestrating the biggest real estate deal in Hampton's history. 18 months of careful planning, shell companies, and quiet acquisitions had led to this moment. Tomorrow, every member of Hampton Shores Beach Club would receive an email announcing their new owner. They didn't know that their precious beach club was just the beginning. Over the past year, I had systematically acquired every property along this stretch of coastline. The neighboring clubs, the luxury condos, even the small businesses, all now belong to Coast Haven Properties, my company. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my assistant. "The final paperwork just came through. You now own everything from Point Break to Miller's Cove. Should I send out the announcement emails?" I looked at my family one last time through the car window. My father was now standing, probably giving one of his famous speeches about legacy and family tradition. Victoria was recording it on her phone, no doubt for her Instagram followers. My mother was dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Tomorrow their perfectly ordered world would implode. The exclusive beach club that had been their social anchor for 30 years would no longer be their private domain. The coastline they thought they ruled would belong to someone else. To me. I picked up my phone and typed, "Schedule the emails for 10 a.m. tomorrow during their annual members' brunch. And make sure my family's email arrives first." The response was immediate. "Yes, Ms. Anderson. Should I include the full development plans for the coast?" Yes, the development plans. The ones that would transform their stuffy old beach club into something actually beneficial to the community. Public access areas, environmental conservation zones, affordable housing units mixed in with the luxury properties. Everything they had fought against for years. "Include everything," I typed. "And make sure the press release goes out simultaneously. It's time everyone knew who really owns the coast now." As I drove away from Hampton Shores, I thought about tomorrow's brunch. I could picture it perfectly. My father opening the email on his phone, my mother's champagne glass slipping from her manicured fingers, Victoria's Instagram-ready smile freezing on her face. "This beach is for successful children," he had said. "Well, Dad, I thought success looks different to everyone." And tomorrow they would all learn just how differently I defined it. My phone lit up with one final message. Ms. Anderson, the construction teams are ready to begin work next week. Should we start with the beach club renovation? I smiled as I typed my response. Yes. And make sure to send my family the new membership terms. After all, everyone needs to reapply under the new ownership. The sun was setting over the ocean as I drove home, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Tomorrow would change everything. But for now, I savored the calm before the storm, knowing that the next time I stood on that beach, it would be as the owner, not the outcast. The next morning, I sat in my penthouse office overlooking the coastline, watching the annual members' brunch through the security cameras I'd had installed last week. The elegant white tables were set up on the beach club's terrace, champagne flowing freely as Hampton's elite congratulated themselves on another exclusive summer season. My father held court at the center table, his white linen suit pristine as always. Victoria sat beside him, her tennis bracelet catching the morning sun as she gestured animatedly, probably recounting her latest social triumph. Mom was doing her usual rounds, making sure everyone knew about Victoria's recent feature in Hampton's Society magazine. It's 9:59, Ms. Anderson, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. Emails are queued to send in 1 minute. Would you like to watch the security feed on the main screen? Put it up, I replied, settling back in my chair. The wall-sized screen flickered to life, showing multiple angles of the brunch. I could even see the small stage where Dad would soon give his annual legacy speech. 10 a.m. The first ping came from my father's phone. I watched as he casually picked it up, probably expecting another business notification. His expression shifted from relaxed to confused to ashen in the span of seconds. Robert. My mother touched his arm, concerned. What's wrong? He didn't answer, just stared at his phone as if it had burst into flames. Around the terrace, other phones started chiming. The comfortable murmur of conversation gradually died as member after member opened the email announcing their beloved club's change in ownership. Victoria was the first to break the silence. Daddy? What's happening? My father's hands were shaking as he tried to stand. This has to be a mistake. Some kind of joke. The coast? All of it? I heard my mother's voice crack through the audio feed. But who would, how could? The answer came from Mrs. Blackwood, the notorious gossip of the club. Coast Haven Properties. Wait, isn't that, oh my God. She turned to stare directly at my parents, and I knew she'd made the connection. As a board member of several local charities, she'd been at the meeting last month where I'd presented Coast Haven's community development initiatives. She'd dismissed me then, not realizing who I was or what I was planning. It's Sarah, she whispered, but in the dead silence everyone heard. Sarah Anderson owns it all. The sound of shattering glass drew everyone's attention. My mother's champagne flute lay in pieces at her feet, the expensive champagne soaking into her designer shoes. Victoria was frantically scrolling through her phone. This can't be right. The development plans, public access beaches, affordable housing, environmental preservation. This will ruin everything. Not ruin, came a voice from the entrance. Improve. Every head turned. I stood in the doorway, dressed in a white power suit that probably cost more than their annual membership fees. My heels clicked against the terrace tiles as I walked to the center of the gathering. Good morning, everyone, I smiled, enjoying the shocked faces around me. I believe you've all received the announcement about your new owner. I thought I should come personally to address any concerns. You. My father's voice was barely controlled rage. You did this. How dare you? How dare I? I laughed, the sound carrying across the suddenly silent terrace. How dare I succeed beyond your narrow definition of success? How dare I build something bigger than your precious family firm? Or how dare I come back to the beach you banned me from? I pulled out a chair at what used to be his private table and sat down, crossing my legs elegantly. Because make no mistake, Father, I'm not just back. I own this beach. And the next one. And the next. In fact, I gestured to the coastline, everything you can see from here belongs to me now. We'll fight this, he sputtered. The board won't allow. The board already approved the sale last month. I cut him off. They just didn't know who was behind Coast Haven Properties. I bought their votes before they even realized they were selling to your disgraced daughter. Victoria stood up so quickly her chair fell backward. You can't do this to us. This club is our legacy. Was your legacy, I corrected her. Now it's mine. And I have much bigger plans for it than serving as your private playground. I pulled out a stack of papers from my briefcase. Speaking of which, all existing memberships are now void. If you wish to reapply under the new ownership, these are the terms. The papers I set on the table detailed the new membership requirements, including substantial contributions to local environmental causes and community service hours. Everything the old guard had fought against for years. You're destroying decades of tradition, my mother whispered, tears in her eyes. No, mother. I'm creating new traditions. Better ones. I stood up, smoothing my suit. Oh, and Victoria? About those Instagram posts you love so much? The ones mocking my failure? She paled as I pulled out my phone and showed her my screen. Her social media accounts had already been blocked from all Coast Haven properties. I'm afraid we have a strict policy against cyberbullying, I smiled. But don't worry, you can still post from the public beaches. Oh wait, those were all private until today, weren't they? Funny how things change. The sound of helicopters drew everyone's attention skyward. News choppers were approaching, right on schedule. If you'll excuse me, I said, gathering my things, I have a press conference to attend. We're announcing Coast Haven's full development plans for the area. I'm sure you'll all be interested in the changes coming to your neighborhood. As I walked away, I heard my father's voice, broken and barely audible. Sarah, please. We can talk about this. I turned back one last time. You know, Dad, you were right about one thing. This beach is for successful children. It's just that your definition of success was too small. The helicopters were getting closer, cameras no doubt already rolling. Showtime. The press conference was held on the main beach, deliberately staged so the Hampton Shores Beach Club terrace served as the backdrop. My family and the other members were forced to watch from their perch as I unveiled my vision for the coast to dozens of news outlets. Coast Haven Properties is proud to announce a $2 billion redevelopment initiative. I spoke into the forest of microphones wearing my most camera-ready smile. One that will transform this exclusively private coastline into a model of sustainable, inclusive community development. From the corner of my eye, I could see Victoria frantically texting, probably trying to salvage her social media influencer status. My father sat rigid in his chair, his face a mask of barely contained fury. Mother had disappeared, probably hiding in the powder room, her usual retreat during family crises. The centerpiece of our plan, I continued, triggering the holographic display behind me, will be the conversion of Hampton Shores Beach Club into the Coast Haven Community Center. While maintaining its historic architecture, we'll be opening its facilities to local residents and establishing educational programs for underprivileged youth. A collective gasp came from the terrace. Converting their precious sanctuary into a public space was bad enough, but education programs for those people, as they like to say, was their worst nightmare. Ms. Anderson. A reporter raised her hand. There are rumors that your family has been members of Hampton Shores for generations. Did this influence your decision to acquire the property? I smiled directly at the cameras, knowing my father was watching. Actually, until yesterday I was banned from these premises. My family didn't approve of my career choices. A theatrical pause. I suppose you could say I had to buy the entire coastline just to get back on the beach. The reporters laughed, but I caught my father's flinch. Good. But this isn't about personal revenge, I continued smoothly. This is about correcting decades of exclusionary practices that have kept our beaches private playgrounds for the wealthy while local residents are shut out of their own community. My phone buzzed, a message from my assistant. Your father is trying to contact our major investors. Should I release the ownership documents? Do it, I typed back. Let him discover that I'd structured the deals so perfectly that even his best lawyers couldn't touch them. Ms. Anderson. Another reporter. What about current club members? Will they retain any privileges? All current members are welcome to reapply, I said, knowing the cameras were catching every reaction on the terrace. Under our new membership criteria, which emphasizes community service and environmental stewardship rather than certain other traditional requirements, like having the right last name or belonging to the right country club. The implications weren't lost on anyone. Victoria suddenly appeared at the edge of the press area, her tennis outfit incongruous among the reporter's business attire. "Sarah, please," she hissed. "You're destroying everything our family built." I turned to her, making sure the microphones caught every word. "No, Victoria. I'm building something new. Something better. Instead of a private club that serves 300 wealthy families, we'll have facilities that benefit 30,000 local residents." "But where will we play tennis?" she wailed, apparently missing the point entirely. "The courts will still be here," I replied coolly. "They'll just be open to everyone now. You might even make some new friends who didn't attend boarding school." The horror on her face was almost comical. A commotion at the terrace drew everyone's attention. My father was standing now, his face purple with rage. "This is outrageous. I'm calling an emergency meeting of the club board." "The board has been dissolved," I announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Along with all the old bylaws, membership rules, and—" I paused for effect. "Social hierarchies." The reporters were eating it up. I could already see the headlines. "Banned heiress buys entire coast, transforms exclusive club into community center." One last question. A young reporter in the front row. "What would you say to other young entrepreneurs facing family disapproval?" I looked directly at my father as I answered. "Success doesn't always look like what your parents want it to. Sometimes you have to buy the whole beach to prove you can swim." The press conference wrapped up and I watched as my family huddled with their social circle, probably plotting some kind of legal challenge. Let them try. Every document was ironclad, every transaction legitimate. I'd learned from the best, after all. Watching my father's business dealings for years had taught me how to build an unassailable position. My phone buzzed again. "Construction crews are ready to begin demolition of the members-only signs. Would you like to do the honors?" I smiled, picking up a golden sledgehammer that had been prepared for exactly this moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," I called out, "let's make this beach public." The cameras flashed as I swung the hammer at the sign that had kept me out for the past year. As it crashed to the ground, I caught my father's eye one last time. "You were right, Dad," I said, though he was too far away to hear. "This beach is for successful children. And success looks different now."